I just wanted to start this episode by saying that I know this is nowhere near the world's first freaking podcast or whatever this is going to become, and that it's been on my heart for, I'm not even exaggerating, I think I have a journal entry from 8 years ago talking about the podcast I wanted to create, and I literally have like lists and lists of guests and what I wanted to talk about and like what I wanted to share. And I really do believe that all things are in perfect timing, and this is the perfect example of like, I'm like so gross after running around in the mud with my dog on like a hot day here in Nashville, and it just like bubbled out of me. And one, that's a reminder that our job right now is to answer those impulses. But I just wanted to say that this isn't like a toot my own horn thing. This feels a little cringy, but I just, like we all have, I'm sure, I had a lot of things growing up that made me grow up really fast. And I was also just super sensitive kid and really aware. And there's beautiful things about that and hard things about that. But I mention it because my whole life, this is the toot toot part, my whole life, people have been telling me that like I'm so wise and like I should like be a therapist or have a podcast or whatever. And I never felt like that was true. I knew I loved connecting with people. I knew I loved helping people, which is why I'm so passionate about like my healing work. But I just didn't believe at all that I carried a wisdom. And the last year's been a lot, and now I do. Now I really do believe I have wisdom to share and new perspectives, and I'm not shy about owning that for the first time. And by the way, I think any one of us has wisdom that's worth sharing. I think my like friend's 4-year-old son has wisdom worth sharing. So if you need that reminder, let it be. But all to say, this is a long time coming, and I don't even care what it becomes as much as I care that I'm answering the call and showing up to this thing that feels like vulnerable and weird and like, who's gonna care? And all the voices, like, who cares? I'm just answering the call the same way we all are supposed to be right now. And all the times I've questioned if I was anybody that knew anything, I know I'm somebody that knows some stuff. And it's very much still in process. And I think that's becoming almost the intention of whatever this is that maybe 3 people will see, is like doing this together, like showing up for what I need the most in hopes that it's valuable to whoever stumbles upon it, and that I have wisdom and so do you. And I think that is the purpose of this age of information. There's a not great side where we get caught up in it and it's like input overload, but I have been supported so deeply from creators online and people who are brave enough to share their wisdom. And I think it's time for all of us to not question our wisdom. And so I'm not anymore. I don't care if it doesn't look perfect or sound perfect or make sense. And I just wanted to note that before the episode. And however the heck you're here, I'm really glad you are. And yeah, anyways, so this is a journey on the heels of a lot of change and destruction and grief and despair and joy and total expansion and freedom and excitement. All of those things are true for me right now. And I'm in the process of stepping into a version of myself I've always felt. And I think that's true for a lot of us right now. And so, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll like heed the call of this like totally embarrassing thing and do it in public a little. So, yeah, here goes nothing. When I was 16, my oldest brother wrote me a letter. In it, there was a sentence that read, "Pain is a chance to be wiser, although I don't know if it's a fair trade." It always stuck with me. And also, what if it is a fair trade? Not just the pain, but the wisdom earned through any big feeling or circumstance we navigate as we move through this life. What if that's the whole point? My belief, take it or leave it, is that we're infinite souls having a human experience. That we come here and many other places to expand our consciousness, learn, and grow. I think that maybe our lives, the very miraculous experience of consciousness itself, is all a chance to be wiser. These conversations and, well, monologues are the reflections of the triumphs, struggles, creations, and wisdom we receive and wonder about along the way. This is a chance to be wiser. I'm Blair, and I'm so glad you're here. Okay, I needed this reminder in this now moment, so sharing it for anyone else who may also need to hear this, which is that some of the scariest, most challenging, uncomfortable, reality-bending decisions and circumstances we will ever find ourselves in, a lot of them we will do alone. There will be no witness. And sometimes when our decisions, our really hard moments aren't witnessed, I found that for me personally, it carries this story of being or feeling alone. And the truth that I've come to is that being or feeling alone isn't a real thing. That can never be the truth. We are always connected to not only our higher selves, but a higher power, a creator, this mysterious energy that flows through the earth and all things. And when you learn to be devoted to that higher aspect of yourself in creation, you are resourced from within. And being resourced from within, which is ironically being connected to the all, is the truth of every moment since you arrived here. In your movie, in this lifetime, in this earth school, it has always been you and you. But that can feel a little spooky ooky. And so we find places, and things, and people, and circumstances that lead us to believe we're not alone and that we're not creating our reality in every moment. And that is not to say that connection isn't real or that it's bad. It's the most beautiful reason we're here, is to connect and love and be of service and be in community. But I have had, in the wake of earth-shattering change over the last 7-ish months, the ground-shaking realization that it is always us and us, ourselves and ourselves. It's you and you in this game, in this life, in this beautiful experience where we come to learn so much. It's always been you and you. And you know this because my experience of my day on this beautiful planet today has been completely different than anyone watching or listening to this, because of the day I lived, and it's me, and the experiences I've had up until this moment create different perceptions of how I'm experiencing XYZ. It is always you and you. And that can feel, if you have a little wound around aloneness, a little scary or sad, but it is the good news. It is the good news. We are so powerful. Okay, I'm back. Dog has exited. The reason that this life, being you and you from start to finish, is the good news is because I got news for you. It's gonna be you and you until the very end. So the more we can get used to what can feel like the vulnerability of that truth, that every moment is an opportunity to shift, become more alive and aware and create, and it's up to you and only you. And I'm sure you've heard the whole trope of no one's coming to save you, but it's true. And the reframe is that doesn't need to be bleak, because there is an inner knowing we have forgotten about, not everyone. But even if you haven't forgotten about our infinite inner knowing, I do think even still we haven't scratched the surface of really becoming intimate with that relationship. I think we're entering a time where that knowing is coming from a subtle sense to a true sense. And I'm just dropping this knowledge to ring the bell of good news that it's you and you. And what a gift. Because when it's you and you don't have to rely on anyone else. I'm sure if you've ever done like parts work or inner child work in therapy or otherwise, basically the concept is just like anyone can do it. Essentially like dropping into meditation, getting quiet, coming into the body, and as your current self, visiting yourself at an age where maybe your needs weren't completely met, or you were going through something really hard, or whatever, like a core wound time. And when you do that practice, even if you're just like thinking about it as I'm saying that now, it is so incredible and empowering being like, whatever, say your 11-year-old self, and literally picturing your current self with your 11-year-old self and how you have become all the things that person would need. Like no one knows them better. You have grown up, I'm assuming. You have better tools, I'm assuming. You know how to talk to that person. I guarantee you've become the thing they needed, even if that's just like a level of emotional intelligence or how to listen. And it's a pretty powerful practice to play with, but I mention it because it's a reminder of how resourced we are now. It doesn't have to be in the context of our younger self. All those tools and gifts I become aware of when I picture my younger self and being with her, I also have to give to my current day Blair. And then anything is possible. I can't think of anything that allows more freedom than remembering that it is us and us. And when you feel that scary, lonely, spooky, I feel alone on the edge of a cliff feeling, I want someone here with me, I want help, the reminder is that it has always been you and you. And look what you've done. Look what you've created. And if you aren't into what you've created, good news. You can burn it to the ground and start over. just speaking from experience or in process. We are so crazy powerful and supported beyond what we allow ourselves to really feel, I think. And so, again, just a little love letter and hug to anyone witnessing things that are really hard alone, going through major changes on your own, and even just those micro moments of like choosing something better for yourself, like in a cool, good way, but like no one sees it. And there've been a million times like that. And that can ignite that like story of being alone. And who cares? You see it. You are going to see every step of birthing who you came here to be. Your entire life, every time you're heeding the call, you are the witness. It is your ride. And only you get that incredible, dreamy VIP access to every blood, sweat, tear, joy, laughter, dancing, new wisdom, the time you really pushed your limits, the time you lost your shit, the time you corrected, the time you lost your shit, new friendships, old friendships going up in flames, all of it. It's you and you, and that is sacred. And that's my reminder for the day. Love you, bye. Okay, she just listened back and I just wanted to make a few quick clarifiers, really professional. I want to be crystal clear that I am not trying to like get on a soapbox and say it's like you against the world and it's only yourself and there's no support in this life. I want to be clear that that is not the message. A few things. One, it's we always have ourselves because it's always been our relationship with ourselves that's carrying us through this life and is creating everything around us. And the second part of that is that we are supported always by the divine, in my opinion. And I think sometimes when that support comes through in a way that doesn't match our story of how we think it should come through, our brains see it as that we were alone or didn't have support when really it came from sources we never imagined. Or it was a different story than we wanted to have for ourselves. But if you really zoom out into neutrality, there's always support in this dance with the universe, the creator, your higher self. And that's the relationship I'm talking about cultivating. And getting used to what's true outside of your story. Your story is the thing to disconnect from. So I'm not saying like we're alone in the world and that's okay. We're not alone. We're supposed to ask for help. It's human to want help. It's beautiful to receive help and support and connection. I'm saying that at the end of the day and in every second, if we use the metaphor of this life as like, whatever you want to say, a video game or a soul having a human experience or all the things, that internal experience of the way you are moving through the world is exclusive to you. And when you remember not to be fearful of what you're capable of facing on your own, and that that's not a lonely thing, it's just the truth of who we are. And that what I mean when I'm saying we're like outsourcing to other people, that feeling of like truly, truly understanding that it's like Ready Player One and it's you and the world all the time, every second, every day, I think that can feel inherently a little overwhelming. And so we outsource like perceived safety to whatever it is. Like, this is my family, this is my house, this is my job that keeps me safe, this is that and that. And in some literal senses, all those things do provide tons of safety and comfort. But we deepen a groove of using those things to feel a safety that isn't always true when things get uncomfortable and we don't want to look at it. We just forget how free and powerful and strong we are within ourselves. And any outside circumstance or relationship is, if it's beautiful and supportive, is a bonus. But just the beautiful reminder that in your most desperate, confused, painful, frustrating moments, you have every single thing you need within yourself, and you always have. And that's what I meant. Love you, bye.